A very good evening again to everyone who's joining us from India. For all the guests who are joining in from US, a very early good morning to all of you. This is a very exciting session today, and I must congratulate everyone who's on the call today. The fact that you are here on a Tuesday evening and are putting out some time to think about your career in cybersecurity already puts you in the top 1 to 5% of people who are aggressively taking action. Let me introduce our guest speaker for the day, Professor Naeed Faridi, who is the adjunct faculty at for the MS in Cybersecurity Engineering program. She is the principal software engineer at Microsoft currently, where she leads privacy and security initiatives for Copilot and other ML integrated products. She has over a decade of experience in AI product development, cybersecurity, and privacy engineering, and her work spans both applied research and enterprise scale deployment. So, previously at Google Cloud and Capital One Cyber ML, Nahid has driven innovation in threat modeling, preserving machine learning, and synthetic data evaluation. Her tech leadership is grounded in deep expertise across ML pipelines, differential privacy, and adversarial testing, bolstered by a PhD in computer engineering from Virginia Tech. Welcome, Professor. So great to have you here today with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
I would love for you to quickly introduce your journey to everyone who's here today. I mean, it's so interesting the kind of work that has been happening and the teams that you have been leading and working with. It'll just be a pleasure to hear a little bit more about your work at Google and Microsoft.
So I got my PhD from Virginia Tech in cryptography and in hardware engineering. And through the years, I had experience in different companies, consulting firm, Accenture, Capital One, which is a financial firm. And then I joined Google. At Google, I was first part of the Google chip Pixel team, where I evaluated the security and privacy of the cryptographic systems implemented in Pixel phone. And then I moved to Google Cloud, where I worked on healthcare related synthetic data generation and making sure that it is privacy preserving. And finally, in Microsoft, I'm working on Office Product Group Copilot integration, and I'm basically leading the security and privacy responsible AI side of stuff for OPG Copilot. Very nice to meet everyone. On the side, I have been teaching at UC Berkeley and recently the pleasure of teaching at USD for the past year and a half.
I am Surbhi Jain and I am a part of the India admissions team at USD. We have been having conversations about the online programs for from all kinds of experiences. People who, Professor, you'll be surprised to know that so many people who have sometimes 15 plus years of experience as well who have already done their masters, and because of the changing scenario, because security is changing, AI is changing, they are again at this stage that they just want to do an upskilling, they want to go on an upskilling journey, and they want to figure out a master's that works for them.
Mm-hmm. That has been the case even for me as well. Like I didn't get an official like master's degree, but you can see my journey started from hardware engineering, and then it was the like age of deep learning, machine learning. So I had like to self-learn, self-taught all of these. That back then there weren't like really fast programs like the master's program you are bringing up right now. So we had to go through a lot of, resources and then try to learn as much as we can, learn many of these true projects in the job. And now it's even like changing even more. So it's now like the LLM area and how we can provide security and privacy for LLM. So it's a very fast moving, field. And we need to keep getting educated. I keep, joking with my friends. It's like I always need to be in college for either as a teacher or as a student because we need to keep learning and we need to, to keep educating ourselves with the fast movement of all this technology.
Definitely. I mean, it's learner for life now, for sure,
Mhm.
right? And And yeah, of course, I mean, there is a mixed bag of people. There are in the online cohorts at the moment, there are people who are who are entrepreneurs who are building their journey. There are people who are leading global teams and probably have teams of 100 plus people under them, and they want to upskill. So it's a very interesting time, really, in these cohorts. There's so much variety of people who are joining these programs. But to start with, Professor, so which cybersecurity roles you think are becoming more valuable because of AI? And which ones are risking becoming automated? We know that overall cybersecurity has like a negative vacancy. I mean, there are more roles than there are people in the world at the moment, right? And more
Yeah.
roles are being advertised every day. But specifically because of AI, which ones are becoming more valuable for a person who is now looking to either pivot or grow into cybersecurity?
hmm Yeah, that's a good question. One thing I have to add is that as cybersecurity engineers, we are very lucky. Cybersecurity is always needed. So the only thing is that its form or shape is changing. So I always, I see it as a benefit. Maybe like 10 years ago, I would prefer to be like just software developer or just machine learning engineer. Nowadays, I feel very lucky that I moved into intersection of cybersecurity, ML, AI. The only thing is that it's changing from like rule-based defense to some sort of adaptive, intelligent-driven systems. So on the defense side, there are, AI is being used for behavioral anomaly detection, automation of triage and alerting prioritization. We used to get like thousands of alerts, and that is why they were hiring a lot of SOC analysts and SOC, engineers. Now it's being automated. It's being like ML is being deployed in all of these roles, threat intelligence summarization. So there is like a bigger kind of shift is that security professionals now need to understand systems, not just tools. We used to have like these courses where we would just introduce some tools and everyone tried their best to be familiarized with them. Now, the tools are automated, so we need to learn or make our foundation stronger in understanding the systems, data supply chains, model integrity, and now there is also the attack landscape has also improved, right? Now we have LLMs and then we have agents, agentic AI. They can take actions, they can, interact with the outside world, they can call tools. So how do we secure those? It is our and the technology is moving so fast, we don't get enough even enough time to secure those. So I think it's a field that needs more resources, needs more knowledgeable people. It's a good place to enter. Other less valuable, like or critical, basically just purely manual SOC work, triaging alerts without having the right context, which is not even like nowadays, it's not even humanly possible. The size of, the data or the amount of data coming in is so huge, or tool specific expertise, a statistical rule. There used to be roles where people wrote the statistical like YAML rules for detection. They would write regex, etc. These are kind of like now a little bit obsolete because ML AI is taking those places. So, right now, nowadays, it's kind of like the key shift is from execution to interpretation and design. So now the agent AI, the LLMs, they're doing the job. We have to be able to interpret them. We have to make sure it's not hallucinating. Is it even relevant? Does it make sense or not?
Yeah, I think you started answering my next question a little bit as well, which was really that. So the question then becomes short form certificates or a master's, right? So many
Mm-hmm.
professionals they collect certificates, right? But they still
Yeah.
plateau.
Mm-hmm.
What are the
Yeah.
skills that they are missing? And you mentioned that learning tools now is not the way forward. There are 10 tools that are coming into the market every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Yeah.
why should a person think about a master's?
That's a good question. Like the why part is that I think certificates. I mean, okay, it is cheaper for sure. But the thing is that what do you learn when you get a certificate? Most of the exam material, most of the what we study is very theoretical. However, and it is very high level. Like, yeah, or actually, what can I say? It is very. on a technical side of the specific certificate topic. The thing is that we have to go back and study the foundations, learn it from scratch. We cannot just, keep patching our knowledge with the certificate on top of certificate. At some point, we have to go back and learn everything fundamentally, which I think is like the reason that I feel like investing 1 year, 2 years into education is much more worth it. It's a better return of investment, because it's not just a small thing that we are learning. We need to learn it end to end and comprehensive. We need to learn the network side, the OS side, the ML side. All of those areas all together is what brings into the picture. Because nowadays it's not just learning a single topic. You have to have enough knowledge on different topics to be able to make sure whether the design is correct or not. So that will actually help, because we need like a lot of, decision making happening, prioritization happening. And how can we do that if we don't know at least a little bit about different, like other areas that we are not such experts in, but we need some basic minimum knowledge in those areas. And I think a master's program will actually do justice and will bring like enough context into the
Mhm.
picture. So the other thing is the hands-on part as well. You will get exposed to a lot of, opportunities for labs, experiments, trying even to break stuff, writing defenses, doing the attacks yourself. So if we spend enough time and get hands-on experience, that is going to, be very valuable compared to a theoretical exam that we study for it like 2 months and then we take the exam and then we move on.
Exactly. I think at some time, every learner really has to ask themselves if they just want a certificate on a resume or they want in-depth learning, right? It just comes down to that. But also, very interesting aspect that I wanted to quickly touch upon was that everything is changing. I mean, 3 months down the line, if we have this conversation, it might be different, right?
Mhm.
So, definitely associating with a learning system or a set of people who are responsible for ensuring that everything that's getting taught is changing every day, every month, whenever there is a change that's happening in the world, is something that you would probably want to be associated with, right? A master's that stays static and the curriculum that stays static for 2 years might not be something that is a great idea for professionals, specifically right now. I don't know, after 10 years, maybe we plateau again. But right now, it's scary to not be working with somebody that's at the end doing the work for you while you're working at your day job. Somebody else across the world is ensuring that what you're learning is also up to date. You spoke about the applied aspect. Can you tell us a little bit about um, what are the industry interactions, or what are the applied real projects that a person gets to dip their fingers in during a master's in cybersecurity engineering?
Yeah, absolutely. I can give you like just a comprehensive example. We used to have, labs that were just like, develop this type of attack and become familiar with that attack in tools in Kali Linux. Like they had like Nmap and different Wireshark, etc. Uh, this is all gone now. And I was actually looking at the curriculum and I noticed they are really on top of it. And actually they changed to the new version of Kali. They actually provided the new tools that are part of that program, and it's now all using LLMs. So it's very important, to be updated with all of this stuff. And so I have seen even curriculums that are, really outdated and they're still trying to go back and use their previous labs, etc. I think the differentiator here is that we do keep, updating. Even the last year's keynote speak by Dr. Majid, he literally started to breaking agents in the talk because it's very important and there's a whole shift happening here. In industry, for example, we didn't have any issues, with evaluations, with responsible AI, with privacy of LLMs, because I feel like now everyone needs to get some sort of knowledge of those, how they work, what are the security issues, because the whole industry is trying, like, whenever we are thinking about solutions, everyone is like, can we develop an agent for this? Can we have an agent fix this? And the security is the concern that comes up with it. Like the main objective of against this is like we are not sure what is the security part of what concerns are out there. So this program keeps you updated with all of those. It keeps moving with the industry requirements and keeps updating the courses. I think that is one of the benefits. And it's very hard actually. The only way to do it is to, to work with adjunct faculty who have industry experience, who have, firsthand um, news
Yeah.
from their work, and they can update everyone, hey, this is the current concern, we need to change. And like whenever we think about it, is that uh, we feel it in the job market. We no longer, we don't need just developers, we need experienced developers. And when we think about the solution, the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, we need to go back and change the education course here. We need to go back and teach people the system design, the architecture, the security and threat landscaping. And this program is really on top of that. And they keep moving. They keep moving with the industry. I do see courses being taught for one semester, and then the next semester I see they have more advanced curriculum. They already changed a couple of chapters there. So that has been my observation. It's been great.
Yeah, I think this is all coming from the very seed of these programs that Dean Chell laid many years ago, which was he didn't go to academicians to create these. These were built by him first, going to leaders in Microsoft and Meta and Netflix and asking them, what do you want? What do you want to see in the people you hire? And that's where the program was created. So it really flows from what is the need in the industry. And I'm so interested in maybe figuring out from your experience in Microsoft, right, from the daily projects that you're seeing growing there and at Google, maybe did you ever see something that was becoming an industry challenge and that you saw getting mirrored into the curriculum as well?
Yeah, so one example is like I have seen they have I used to work with a team that they were trying to do, attack analysis, and of course all of that is automated now. We do build, LLM based tools to fix those issues. We no longer have manual process, and I did see that the curriculum actually did update there is literally a chapter on how to, build agents, build LLMs around detection, around anomaly detection, around triage. So all of these are actually being considered, and I was very impressed. Um, I even requested access to one of the courses that I'm not teaching, which was in the area of privacy. And I was like, okay, maybe I can learn more. And I was surprised to see it was very actually helpful in my job. That is not the course that I was teaching. I just tried to and asked the professor to add me to the course so I can at least audit it, even though like I have been in this field for 10 years. I wanted to learn about privacy, and I noticed they already have differential privacy. They already have privacy budget. Privacy budgeting is a very new concept. Only a few companies have adopted that, and it is for generation of privacy preserving data sets. And I noticed this is actually already included in the curriculum, so that is great. So, and not many people have this knowledge. The other thing is that I saw is that when I was getting into the program, and Dr. Majid was giving me a tour. He literally said, and here's our lab. I built it when I was a student here myself. I was very surprised to see that all the professors are very hands-on. The labs are very extensive. It's really, very close to the experience and expectations that we have from, a graduate to know all. It's a leverage, basically. It's the changing factor to have hands-on experience.
Definitely. Professor Majid is so impressive. And the he's doing so many things. He's, of course, also working in the industry. He's also the program director, and he's also still got time to speak to students and respond to emails and really look at each and every person's career in each of their cohorts. It's really very impressive. We were very lucky to have, we recently did a specific session with him where he did a live adversarial attack session, and that was quite exciting. But let me just quickly move on, and we have a few questions coming in. I will quickly finish a question and then we'll move to that. Um, so you have been hiring teams. You have been hiring people for your teams. When you evaluate mid-career candidates, what things stand out to you positively, negatively, their background, how many years of core cybersecurity experience do you look for, or what are the new skills that you think are also working?
Mhm. Basically, in mid-career, expectations shift, right? From can you do the work to ownership and impact. We need, some independence at that phase. We need to have, depth and breadth balance. So basically, in terms of ownership, have you led initiatives end to end? In terms of impact, can you qualify outcomes? Nowadays, if you're going and talk to your leadership, you can all talk technical, but at the end, you need to be able to explain what is the impact of this product? How does it contribute to the revenue? What is, the whole, but why do we need to fund this project? Adaptability is another important, factor. And that is why I think being, updated with all the industry trend and with all the new technology matters. None of us, like I graduated like what, 12, 13 years ago, and it is important, like it has changed a lot. There were no deep learning, there were just statistics back then. No deep learning, no LLM, no transformers, nothing. And the whole security landscape also changed with this. So I had to keep myself adaptable. I had to update myself, and that is very important in mid-career. No one can say, "Oh, I don't have knowledge on this." That is not acceptable in mid-career. You don't have knowledge, you need to go and learn it. Yeah. Um, and like the other thing is depth and breadth balance, which I covered in my previous answers. You can be strong in one area, but you should be able to collaborate across domains, and that is why it's important in this master's program. You have cryptography courses, you have network security, you have software security. Even though maybe your specialty is in one area, but you need to be able to communicate and talk and collaborate with other areas. So being able to simplify complex problems, being able to bridge security engineering to business side is very important in this space.
That's so true. And I think I have spoken to a few people who are in the online programs for cybersecurity in India. I think this is something that they enjoy mostly in the program. The ability to really speak to each other. And on a weekly basis, the setup is such that you can't work in silos, right? There are opportunities and there are board discussions that you must do, and there are smaller capstone projects that you must do. The best part is that there are no exams. So the final project is where you showcase what you have learned and how you can be creative with what all you have been able to really upskill in this journey. But that's how working professionals should learn, really, right? It can't be, information is everywhere. In downloading information is not really the new way of learning. It's about how you work in teams, because that's how you work in your real life, how you are able to articulate the problem, articulate how you're going to really go ahead with the solution. So all of those parts are so inherent, such an inherent part of the online program that it really makes it beautiful. Right. I think I've gone on for too long and I must take some questions. I see the chat going ping, ping, ping. So let me just quickly take the first question in. Okay. Hi, Vinamra Jain. We do have some time. We can also take your questions live. So if you want to show us your face, switch on your video and audio, we'd love to have you join us in this conversation. Can my team please unmute Vinamra? Okay. So while he gets comfortable to join us, let me just quickly ask his question. Or has he? Oh, yes, he's here. Vinamra, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, so am I audible?
Yes, Vinamra. Hello, how are you?
I am great. So I'm currently in my second year of BTech and I'm currently pursuing computer science. And yes, I've recently been exploring the cybersecurity domain. So I had various questions. So first of all, it is very easy to use tools and solve labs and all, but like, what is the main deep understanding in cybersec? I would like to ask that because it is very easy for anyone to learn the tools and execute scripts without knowing what is actually happening. So,
Yeah, that's a good question. So deep understanding is basically, in my opinion, basically the difference between knowing what works and knowing why it works and when it will fail. Capture the flag and tools like this are in a really controlled and simplified environment, and you're given a clear objective. The vulnerability is intentional, the scope is limited. Deep understanding can be in different, ways. One is mental model, not just memorizing stuff. Instead of memorizing exploits or commands, you understand, how operating systems manage memory, how network protocols behave under edge cases. So when something breaks, you can reason your way through it, even if you have never seen it before, because you know the basics. I always keep saying we should go back to the foundation and basics. You should be able, deep understanding can be the ability to generalize across different systems. A tool may tell you this is vulnerable, and deep understanding is why is this vulnerable? How else can this pattern exist? How would this behave at scale? So identifying, different classes of issues is important. And another thing is systematic thinking. Actually, in all fields, software engineering, cybersecurity, machine learning, we like this, there's a shift from junior engineers to more senior engineers. And actually the difference between junior and senior is system design. And so we need to learn to not just think about different components, but learn about the whole system. For example, capture the flag is an isolated problem. Real systems can be connected to APIs. Identity systems may have multiple layers. Data might go through different pipelines. So how is security going to break these boundaries? These are all, different. We can also talk more about it. It's never ending, but these are examples of how deep understanding will help with the shift basically, and making yourself distinguish among a lot of, there are tons of candidates for a job. How can I distinguish myself?
Yes, and as Professor mentioned, we'll take one question per person for now, but definitely all your questions are very important and you can message it into our team. I'll request my team to share the details of our team members in India, and we will get your questions to Professor directly, and you can expect answers to all of them. But for now, we'll take a lot of other questions. Hi, Jatin. Jatin asks, can you share what specific courses or subjects you teach within the MS CSE program?
Yeah, so I'm teaching Cyber 501. It's basically the basics of cryptography and security in the systems as a whole. It covers different areas. We do have we cover each area a little bit, not too much in deep. It covers governance, security, basics, CIA, triangle, cryptography a little bit, and then we move to a little bit of network security, web security, and then this is kind of like the basic. It's laying down the ground, and then you will have courses where they take each of the chapters of this course and they expand it. I maybe in future, near future, teach a course in LLM security about the threats and defenses. I'm actually designing this course at the moment. I'm in talks to design this course. We do have a plan and proposal to think about how we can attack different LLMs. What is the threat landscape? I'm also teaching COM 364. which mostly is on the software and system security. How can you integrate security as part of your software design? How should you think about software security as a requirement rather than an afterthought? It needs to be part of the design. So yeah, currently these three courses, yes.
And thank you for your answer. The next question is coming in from Gopal. He asks, where can we get resources or information as Nmap and Wiresharks are replaced by new LLM containing tools?
Mhm. You can search, you can download the new version of Kali Linux. Everything is kind of like nowadays LLM based in Kali Linux. It was very interesting to see all of those tools being updated and now deploy and use LLMs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I hope that was helpful for you, Gopal. Moving on to another question from Ryle Joby. Okay, he has a question about Microsoft. What is Microsoft looking forward to? Any new changes for enhancement of the LLM model?
Mhm. I think Microsoft recently did announce that they are going to have their own super intelligence division. Mustafa Soleiman is actually going to be the CEO of that division. There's definitely a push into integrating AI and agent mode into different products. For example, at this on Office product, we are enabling agent mode in Excel, PowerPoint, different tools. So certainly, a push. And the other concern is the evaluations. Like many companies do have AI, but we want to bring in the best of the quality. So how do we systematically evaluate these systems? There are squad teams on evaluation parts. There's also like a push for security and guardrails. We do have our own responsible AI division. We do have, a whole team working on prompt injection attacks because most of the customers of Microsoft are enterprise level and they do have a lot of security concerns. That is the top of their mind. Like individuals can use LLMs or tools or Claude or Gemini or Copilot for their daily work. It's not too important. But enterprise has a lot to lose. They need to gain the trust of their customers. So the focus is actually on, making it secure and reliable. And that is why I feel like there is a lot of opportunity for cybersecurity in this day and age.
Definitely. And also, we have so many people who are in our cohorts from Microsoft, and we have a lot of people this cohort that are looking to join in. We have a very interesting cohort, as I mentioned earlier. There's a senior tech professional from Apple, there are a few people from Trellix. So, a lot of people who have international teams in San Diego, across the world, and in India are very interesting in these in how these programs enable various journeys. There are people who there's so many. I mean, I think a majority of the students in India we've seen get higher roles and higher career progression during the time that they're doing their masters, which goes to show the confidence that works. It's more compelling than when you finally have the degree, right? Just 8 months into the program, you feel that you are ready for a higher, better role, and most of the people do crack that. There are a few people from India who've done the online program and have moved on to their US offices, right? We have a very interesting student I spoke to 2 days ago, Megha, whose Boston office really pushed her to do the program, right? Because the University of San Diego is so well known in the US and so well recognized that they really pushed her that this is something that will help us. She is in threat analysis as well. Okay, so let me take another question quickly. Um, yes, a very interesting one, a little fantastical, but if you were 8 to 10 years into your career today, what would you focus on in the next 6 to 12 months? What would you definitely want to get upskilled on?
Mm-hmm. That's a good, question. For security people, I think we need to learn AI, LLM security. For example, many organizations are deploying AI systems. There are new attack surfaces, which is prompt injection, data leakage through the models, model manipulation, model poisoning, and security teams need to basically secure training data pipelines, model behavior and output. So these are likely to become in future core, security domains. There's also identity and access management. This field has also completely changed. Identity is now a control plane. Even like, can you or have you even thought about, we build agents, who is responsible for what the agent does? How do we define the identity of the agents? How do we build zero trust architectures? Even like cloud and infrastructure security is changing. Misconfigurations remain a top risk, but now no one wants to do configurations manually. How do we deploy AI and ML to run configurations, to check configurations, to figure out, the attacks in an infrastructure as a service? In different areas, you can find that that area has also been integrated with LLMs and with AI and has been enhanced. Our job is to find out in each area what is the security threat landscape there and how we can, educate ourselves. I'm personally interested in data security and privacy, data exfiltration, regulations, and where the data lives, who can access it, how it flows through the system. These are all important. So, but the only message that I have is that we have the old traditional systems. All of them has been enhanced with LLMs. What is the new threats that are emerging, and we should expose ourselves to those.
Exactly. It's such an exciting field to be in at the moment. I think we have another question here from Lokesh. What are the skills we have in cybersecurity to go for a career in the USA? Okay, so specifically to careers in USA, what are the skills that cybersecurity hiring managers are looking for? I think we answered this a little bit, but maybe we can look at it from the perspective of the curriculum and what are the skills that we're readying the students for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, a master's degree helps with, depth and some sort of academic rigor. Nowadays, it's important to have the ability to research and learn new topics, and I feel like a degree will do more justice in this case. We are more looking for specialized roles. Some people who exactly have done this as part of are educated enough to be specialized in an area. So for example, you will differentiate yourself from a software engineer who just have happened to work in security teams. If you have, relevant education, that will be your leverage. That will be, so it's basically, more, there is a tendency for more specialized domains, and I would recommend highly to be in the intersection of stuff. Whatever your background has been, whether you've been in IT, in healthcare, in program management, learn it with security and see how you can find the intersection of your previous background and then learn about the cybersecurity side of those stuff. So there's a tendency for more specialized rather than, just general knowledge nowadays.
Yes, that's so well put. But very interesting thing that you mentioned is that we see a lot of uh, professionals from all parts of tech and IT that are doing this program, right? And who are seeing the value of being in the cybersecurity space, and they know that to have a solid growth chart in the space, they will need to do a master's to get that base, right? So how interesting is it for professionals who want to now pivot into the industry? And how does how in depth and how foundational is the program?
The program is actually, as I said, like even like from the starting the first course, every week you have a lab, and actually the labs are very extensive. For example, for the course that I am teaching, you get a simulated environment, and that simulated environment is actually even going to enable you for the certificate. So you can see many people spend a lot of time and energy for certificates. Imagine if that would have been a side benefit. For example, with Cyber 501. You will have hands-on lab. You will have to build your own virtual environment. You will have to work on networking, different threats, different attacks and defenses, and how to write, security reports. On top of that, you get access to test out simulation environments, which easily helps you with ITIL certificate. The whole course itself covers all the contents of Security Plus as well. So you can see not only you are getting a degree in this case, but also you are prepping easily on the side for all the required certificates. So it's like kind of like killing two birds with one stone, just by taking one course. So it's very integrated with what the industry needs and with the hands-on labs that are required. And even the labs are all updated. So that's great. Yeah.
That's amazing. We have another question from Arjun Prasad, who asks us which one does a company prefer or hire in case of a fresher, a certified person or an MS in cybersecurity or a fresher? Sorry, so who do they prefer, a fresher or a certified person?
I think we kind of answered that, like, because I mentioned that there's a tendency for, people with specialized domains and education in those domains. So, certification is like a 3 months or 2 months effort that we put towards a theoretical exam. But the whole education is basically showing that you have a specialized knowledge in this area. So that is the differentiating factor, in my opinion. So maybe like for certificate, it would be, better if you are just, switching into cybersecurity or kind of like providing some sort of baseline competence. Maybe your program says or your current job says, oh, we need everyone to be educated in cybersecurity. That would be, a certificate would be enough for that. But if you want, for example, pursue a role and be a specialized cybersecurity person in your own company, in your own program, you definitely need a master's degree in this case.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I think we have answered this question multiple times now. We'll go to another question from Ashwini Kumar. Ashwini, would you like to talk to us? Let's take a question live if you are comfortable, if you're in a space that you can speak to us. Can my team please unmute him? I will read his question till then. Okay, he's here. Hi, Ashwini.
Hey, hi. So my question is basically revolves around I'm from Microsoft only, from 8 years experience. So hi, Nahid. This question is to understand how much learning curve I would get if I have 8 years experience and already in this role. Would MS help me, or again those certifications like OSCP, OSEE, this industry grade certifications, because they have very high amount of hands-on labs, right? So
Mhm.
and from our past experience, we know college degrees have much theoretical content to cover. And
Mhm.
so just doing a trade-off, how much this will help in practical exposure to those kind of domain, and would it be a basic coverage as someone who is looking to pivot, or for the people like me who is already in the industry from 7 8 years, will this help me in upscaling my current role?
Mhm.
That's the
Uh, this program though is very different. Everything is very, very hands-on. We don't even have exams. We have labs and we have final projects, and so you get exposed to a lot of hands-on experience. So that is kind of like I know that traditional college degrees were very theoretical and we're just focusing on exams and basic knowledge tests. But this one is really very hands-on, and we already, have a ton of labs to cover all of those areas. I think so. Imagine it, you're currently in Microsoft, but I feel like you need to have some sort of cybersecurity because the certificates are focusing on just one area. Unless you find an opening in a team that is directly in need of that just specific certificates area, where you can just get the certificate and move to that team. But
Yep.
if you just want to move to, cybersecurity teams, there are tons of like there's responsible AI, there's the privacy team, there are security teams, there's the XPIA team, and each division also have their own teams, right? In MAI, we have security team. In Office, we have their own security team. In
Yeah.
Windows, they have their own security. So if you want to be able to target all of those teams, I feel like you need exposure to a whole program where it covers different areas. You shouldn't be afraid to say, hey, I can work on network security. Hey, I can work with this area. And I feel like a higher education degree also shows that you are ready to learn new topics, even if just saying that I have a higher education degree is an indicator that I'm okay with researching stuff. I'm okay with getting exposed to new stuff. I'm okay to self-learn stuff. So that's an indicator of, a hardworking person, a dedicated person. So I feel it will expose you to more teams if you want to move internally.
Thanks. That's very insightful. Just one more add-on question, if I can. Like you were talking about AI security space, and it's very interesting. And I also want to internally pivot into AI security role within MS. So, um, as you understand both the areas, how internally Microsoft functions, as well as how important is AI security space, how much weightage is given on this particular domain in this course, cybersecurity engineering MS?
No, they do have a dedicated course in this area, and they cover all of the attacks. They start from, at the end of the course, you will learn the attack surface of a whole system, a whole productionized agentic AI system that has access to the tools, that has access, to the scripts, to databases outside, and you will be able to identify the attack surface. You will be able to launch those attacks. You will be able to write defenses against those attacks. It's very on par with the knowledge that we expect to have when we join these teams. Certainly, the attacks that we get in industry or the defenses are, much more sophisticated, but we need to learn the groundwork. We need to learn the basics in order to be able to. And one other thing is that in industry or in MS or in any other company, it's very researchy as well. But you need to know the basics to be able to extend it and to research it. So you need to have that base knowledge of the system and the type of attack surface there to be able to integrate your software engineering skills into building defenses.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwini, for your question. And for everyone who's wondering, I think I briefly touched upon this, but the beauty of the program, I mean, the kind of people who are being attracted to it in India, at least, are people who already have more than 7 years of working experience in these spaces, right? And then who are looking for a program which is going to be like a sparring buddy, and which is going to allow them to really hone in on these evolving skills, and they don't have the time to go for a theoretical experience, right? Those are the kind of people who at least are being attracted to the programs at University of San Diego. So I mean, what do you expect when a program is created in the industry? That's what it's mostly comprised of. So that's how that is. We have another question. Um, what are the job roles that we can apply after completing MS in cybersecurity?
Depending on your interests, cybersecurity analyst, privacy reviewer, AI governance, responsible AI officer. You can even, be an AI security pen tester, a part of red team or blue team. Yeah, all of these roles are open. And if you have, prior experience in a specific domain, that will be even useful. Like if you're in financial firms or if you're in healthcare industry, you can bring in what you learn and translate it into those dedicated industries.
Yeah, and I think at the base of it, it's really like a 3 to 5 year goal. If you want to see yourself in a leadership position in the next 3 to 4 years, then I on the job training will only, as a professor said, give you access to a few kinds of cyber security and a few aspects of cyber security, right? We are completely on time, and I know, Professor, it's extremely early for you. Thank you so much for making the time to
Yeah.
interact with us. I think it's really been a very fruitful conversation for all of us.
Glad to hear it. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much. Until next time, goodbye, Professor, and
Bye.
goodbye to everyone here. And also to everyone who's on the call, irrespective of how you move ahead, a very, very warm best of luck for your upskilling journey. And we hope your upskilling journey in the next few years is impactful. Thank you so much.